Peace and blessings.
We live, baby. We ain't live, but we recording, baby. We here, baby.
We redo it. I want to play music, like I want music from the start.
Yeah, man. Let's get it.
So let's do it. Are you gonna play a song while we come in?
I'm gonna play.
Divine Comedy.
Because that song, that book you were reading has blasphemous stuff in there. Don't be too geeked up about it. It's a good literature.
What's this, the Bible?
No, Dante's Inferno.
Oh, Inferno.
The guy who wrote about hell and he went down to the 7 levels of hell, which he actually took from the Islamic stories, but he places Muhammad and Ali in that fifth level of hell.
Yeah, he places. It doesn't say them specifically, does it? Oh, it does. What does he call them?
Muhammad and Ali. Like it says their names. And they were deceivers.
Yeah. I remember. What's his name was catching mad heat for that. Hey.
All right. Check. Okay, let's do it. Is this recording through there?
We're recording already, so like we're podcasting, baby. We're casting this pod. We are here.
Peace and blessings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sensual beings of all forms, shapes, and sizes from all parts of the universe that is expanding into the point where it returns to its original particle. This is the Burning Bush podcast. I am your host, Matuse Peace, and this is Muhammad Mota Al-Mayahi. We are the hosts where we have lit conversations about popular belief and popular culture, pretty much a variety of things that we kind of like to speak about and what we're into. And we're just going to have some conversations right now. I hear you playing my single, Whoa.
Yeah, that's what's going on right now, bro.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. Got it, bro. Hey, if you're not gonna plug it here, bro, where are we gonna plug it? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
we gotta plug it everywhere, baby. If you haven't heard this, go and listen to it, man. It's got 10K views. That's epic, bro.
Hey, you were trying to show me another video. What was that?
Yeah. Let me show you this. I will put this up. Yeah, so this is a video of Tyson Fury going up. I know we were talking about Tyson Fury last week, but people were saying, man, maybe this was the moment that helped him resurrect, like in that moment, you know?
Right, okay. So this is like more detailed analysis of, of his resurrection.
Yeah, like why Tyson Fury came back to life.
Because there was a moment there.
There was a moment where like he fell and he died, and then he came back to life. Some Jesus shit.
Yeah, let me have a look here. Okay.
So
is there a
we'll
way
wait
to
for
bring it
this
down
ad. We can't skip the ad.
Is there a way to move the actual box?
I'll move it. I can make it a little smaller, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay. Ads, man. Do you remember a time when YouTube didn't have ads?
Yeah, man.
You know, maybe we can watch it.
Oh
no, that's
we're just. Yeah. All right, so this is him and his team before they go out, right? And it's mad interesting because.
Give me strength and power to my Lord, and let both men come out the ring very well and go back to the family safe. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. Amen. Amen. Asking. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim.
Wait for it.
Amen. Ya Allah, we've worked so hard to get to this far. We stood together, fought together, we're going to win together. Ya Allah, give us the victory and we give you all the glory.
Amen.
Yo, that's based.
Right.
That's based.
the way we start the show. Now, that's an interesting way to start it. Right. So, who was the one doing the first prayer?
I'm guessing one of his Christian teammates, and then the Muslim teammate read the Fatiha and just did a dua as well.
Yeah,
so
man, that's beautiful.
That's epic.
Right. And that's what resurrected him.
Bruh, that's that, you know?
Allah was like, nah, listen.
Yeah, bro.
You listen. You're not gonna take the victory.
Yeah.
But the real victory is that you get up from this right here and you actually take.
Bruh, that was the craziest thing in the fight.
The fact that he was able to, the fact that he was even able to get back up and then draw, following 2 knockouts, is a victory. It really is.
Yeah, man.
And you know what? That like his attitude is gratitude at the end of it. And that's
Bro,
the
even
interesting
before
thing.
he went in, he said, God, may both fighters go into this, give in a good fight, and
Yeah.
then come out safe and go to their families, you know?
And that's what happened.
That's
And
what
I
happened,
love that.
man.
And give him we'll give Allah all his glory, like all the glory. It's telling, bro, and like there's a real strong moral to it as well.
Yeah,
and
man.
this idea that before you go out and you step, no matter how much preparation and everything, like step with that in your heart, like not just. You know, a lot of people they will pray or whatever for like, oh, let me win this, let me win that. But if you want to win everything, somebody has to lose. And perhaps that person that's gonna lose is also praying, let me win.
Yeah.
So, what is God to do? You know,
Yeah.
If it's all about, well, I only believe in God if He provides me with every victory. When the greater lesson could be deeper than that. Like even in this circumstance, the idea of saying, may both men come out safe and have a good fight, that's the win. Like that is how we should be with the world.
Yeah.
It's, you know, at the end of the day, I don't really want to be successful by stepping on people. You know, there's a Jadakiss has a line. I don't remember the line. I'm paraphrasing it, but it's pretty much if you're the only rich person in your crew, then you're all broke.
Yeah.
Right? Because like if you're the only one making money and you're happy to sit around everyone else, your people that you apparently love and you spend your time with, and you're happy to see them do nothing
Yeah.
and make no money,
Yeah.
then what does that say about you?
Says you're an asshole.
Well, I mean, it says some real deep shit, right? And
Straight
so
up.
really, the idea is...
How can you
if-
live in heaven and watch your mates live in hell? Like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like,
so it's not
what's
about
going
giving
on?
them the money. Because that's a big no-no. Like, it really is. Because you see people like MC Hammer who try to put, like, 400 people in a job and he went bankrupt.
Yeah.
What you're doing is, if you're becoming successful or you're making moves, you want to see people around you be
Yeah,
inspired
bro.
and make moves.
Yeah.
In whatever thing that they're into. You just want to see everyone active. And that's so important, bro. Like, if listeners, because I know not you, because we're friends, but if you are surrounded with people who are doing nothing, then you will be doing nothing.
Yeah.
No matter how many dreams you have, them dreams will not become anything because they're just dreams. The difference between a dream and a goal, a dream is something you can have at night or in the day, and it's an imagination, and it's wonderful. A goal is something you plan and strategize for, and then you have short-term and long-term, and you have aims and directions and methods of doing it, and plan A's and plan B's and that's how you achieve shit. Otherwise, you're just gonna keep dreaming. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And you want to be around people who have goals, so that when you're watching them get their goals right, you want to do nothing but have goals. Bro, it's hard to be around people like Motion. Like Motion is one of the like a person who inspired the hell out of me, because anytime I was around him, it was all about, well, what do we grind? Let's grind. What are we achieving? What are we doing? How are we seizing this moment?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that changes you.
Yeah, man, it inspires you. It gives you like inner motivation. Like it takes one person to spark off something, and then you change the fucking world.
And that's why, bro, if your whole clique is changing, like if the whole clique is inspiring each other, it's just a constant spiral. It's like everyone's a catalyst for
Even
everyone else.
in terms of something simple, bro, like training.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if
everything.
your mate is out there training and you're like not inspired, but your friend is out there, that's motivation. You're like, wait, if he can do it, I can
should be
do it.
doing yeah.
You know what
Bro,
I mean? That's the whole thing.
One of my students today, like he was showing me a picture of gangsters or whatever, and I'm like, he wants to get his hair cut like like a mullet or whatever.
Yeah.
This is an Islander kid. I'm like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about, man? You want to get your hair cut he had a picture of Zeus from the combination. From the movie Combination. It's like, yeah, like I want to look like him. I'm like, what
That's
do you mean?
the inspiration,
Like, yes,
bro,
the inspiration.
yeah.
This dude's a big Islander kid. Anyways, having a conversation about like friends, and I'm like, listen, the people you surround yourself with, like, because he said to me, yeah, my mother told me, your friends won't be the ones that end up paying your bills and taking care of your rent, so you have to take care of yourself. And And I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. Because his brother had like a major career opportunity in football. And the day before his debut, he gets in a fight and gets stabbed. Right? And it changes
Damn.
everything for him. So it's like he's seen this and he understands what he was saying that, yeah, you know, they're not going to pay your rent. I'm like, damn right, bro. Like, you're going to understand. If what you want for your friends is a deep reflection of what you want for yourself and what you expect and who you are as a human being. If you're cool with your friends messing their lives around, then what does it say about you? Like, it should be even. It's not just about money, like you were saying. It's even like about food.
Yeah,
like if
bro.
I see somebody, like one of my friends, eating really bad, constantly,
Yeah.
it's like, yo, man, what's the
Yeah,
deal?
but like think about it. SubhanAllah, like the man donated his whole purse, like to charity, like 8 million. I
Wilder,
think
yeah? Fury.
Fury. Yeah, I think he made around 8 million, and it was
he gave
just
it all
like,
to charity.
let me give this all to charity. Like, kept
You
nothing.
know why, bro? Because before he got into that ring, and I'm just assuming, I believe before he got in that ring, he was a man deeply grateful because he realized the fact that he could even get back in a ring was huge.
bro, he was big. Like he did a lot to come back. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me show you how fat he was before the Wilder
Yes.
fight. Man, it was crazy. No, because he was big, bro. Like even in the
He
fight,
lost
he
his
was
weight.
big. You know.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, man. Like the body weight he had on was
An evolution of a person, man. Sometimes they have to step back in order to step even harder forward.
there. It is, bro. Look at that. He lost all that weight, bro.
Can we put that picture up? How can we? Is there
Yeah, I could put it up. I could put it up.
Just,
But you see
show it,
that?
bro. Yeah,
That
that's a
shit's crazy.
huge
That shit's
difference.
crazy, bro. And I just think it's insane. Like,
I love seeing transformations, bro, because it's just it's a nod to the fact that human beings have crazy potential, constant true potential, bro.
yeah, bro.
And it's like when you see somebody go from 0 to 100, change their lives completely, it's just a reminder of what can I do to advance myself. Never stagnate. We're so comfortable. We get too comfortable. We're just at one position. That's why, man, I always struggle with the idea of a safety net job. I got offered like a position and they try to sell it by saying it's like there's a safety net to it because you have like a salary.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, man, what do you want that for? What do you you want to be able to have opportunities. You want to be able to say, I don't know how much at the end of the year I'm going to make or what I'm going to achieve by the end of the year.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have nothing but opportunities to do that instead of fears. I want to be able to take risks. Even something like this, bro.
Yeah, man.
You're taking risks. You're pushing opportunities.
Yeah, like
It's crazy.
you know what's interesting, bro? I've had a friend who told me like, "Yo, why are you doing this podcast?" I'm like, "Well, because I feel like I want to reach out to people and see what they like, what feedback I get, right? That's really like, I want to reach out and I want to have good conversations with you." But then I was like, "Have you seen it?" And he's like, "Oh, nah, I haven't really had the time." I was like, "So why the fuck are you judging it?"
Like, you don't have no idea what it's about
Like,
for you to know what
yeah,
it is.
like you don't even watch it and you want to tell me like
Because-
whether I should do something or not.
Because why would you go out of your way to go and create something out of the norm, which you have to put a lot of effort and time into, and it's your own little thing? Why would you do that? Why don't you just fall back in line? Because I'm in line.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I mean?
like, it's
Because-
like,
Bro, you know, of 1,000 people, only 50 of them are actual people with goals, you know, those who are, or even just dreams.
Yeah.
Even just people who have something different creatively, right? Or they want to achieve something. And of those 50 people, only 5 of them actually leap.
bro,
I'm
and how
telling you.
many people talk about what interests them and it like helps them like get currency. It helps them with so many things.
Yeah.
Whereas some people want to do this,
Yeah.
but they're like, "Oh, nah, you know, I don't feel like."
Self-doubt
And
is
that
still
doubt,
the ego,
bro,
bro.
like that doubt can become hell at times because like you're lost in it, you know, and the depth is like,
The
yeah.
more time you waste doubting, bro, is time wasted.
yeah,
Because
it's such
the
a
thing
waste
is-
of time, bro. And it's a waste of time as well telling others like what they should be doing with their time. Like, bro, it's my time. Like, let me live my time. You know what I'm saying?
You know, one of the things that changed my life is I decided that what would be my basis for doing things was one simple question. And that question was, why not?
Yeah, true.
It was, why not?
Yeah.
Everything, if I thought to do something, I think, well, why wouldn't I do it? And if I had a good enough reason, I just wouldn't do it.
Yo,
but if I was like, there's not actually a reason why I wouldn't do this.
you know who else
I
had
should be
that?
doing
You
this.
know who else had that? Michael Jordan. Why not let it fly? And he shot every time he got the ball.
Yeah.
And he was the best basketball player, but people don't know how many times he missed. Like, Michael Jordan was missing shots more than he was making shots. But
he
the
made
shots,
enough, right?
the shots that he did make were the important ones.
Right.
And that's what it's about.
Wow, that is crazy, man. That's an epiphany right there, because they say, like, if you look at anyone who's extremely successful, you just see the successes, but you don't realize how many failures happened before the successes.
Yeah, that's right.
How many L's were taken, sorry. And that's why I look at it like life is a game.
Yeah.
Right? Life is a game. Hear me out. Life is a game where there are losses and wins, but the losses are powerful when you transform that L to a lesson, and the wins are powerful when you transform them to wisdom.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? So the L and the W goes from a loss to a win to a lesson and wisdom, because inner success is wisdom if you recognize it. You can lose yourself in it, or you can see, all right, this worked.
Yeah,
How
man.
can I monetize on this?
Yeah.
Or do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And a loss was like, all right, this didn't work.
Yeah.
How can I avoid doing this again? Do you see what I'm saying? Wisdom and lesson. That's what I'm saying.
It's crazy.
Self-reflection, bro, and then you kind of start realizing things, man. Because you know what? When you start working things out for yourself, you're going to change how the rest of your existence is going to be. And you just want to be stepping up every year.
Yeah, of course,
You know what I
man.
mean?
You want to, as well, like, you want to talk about important topics, which brings me to this question.
What's the deal?
Have you researched the Uighur people and what's happening in China?
Right, we kind of
We said we were going to...
very lightly spoke on
Yeah.
it.
I want to speak about it because I just think, like, now this is just... I haven't really researched it, but it just seems strange to me that the whole idea of education... We were talking about China as well, man.
Yeah.
And China's a weird-ass place. Like...
Yeah.
Yo,
No disrespect to Chinese.
yeah,
food,
please.
but-
I love Chinese people and the Chinese
and
government.
some-
Please
and-
don't
and-
come for
and
me.
Chinese food, but
You
we're
know what
talking
I'm
about
saying?
China as a communist country, and I was
Yeah.
saying, how could you be a communist country? I mean, when you're the biggest distributor to all the capitalist countries.
Yeah, bro. And
So
like,
question marks.
you got people from China coming down here and they just buy out everything.
Right. I
Like
mean,
it's strange to me, bro, because you got people in China that are struggling. But I see that with, like, I don't know if I'm being judgmental, but I see that with the Arabs as well. Like it's all about our tribe now. It's like my tribe is up, your tribe is down. But like,
are you saying that the divide between the wealthy and the poor is
Yeah,
getting
bro.
bigger, while the middle is getting smaller?
yeah, it's just like
It's everywhere.
eventually
but in
you
some
won't be able to
places,
tell the
the-
difference between the middle and the poor. You
Yeah,
reckon?
very much so. Yeah, I mean, in some places that's very clearly.
Isn't that what happened in like the
Bro, we were in Egypt,
yeah.
right? We were in Egypt.
Yeah,
I
we
guess
were.
there was the middle, but the middle was very little, in the sense of the middle were near the poor, and then
Yeah.
the wealthy were extremely on the other side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's places like that where things deteriorate, and then what you find is
You
that
find people
divide
who are
is epic.
desperate.
And the majority are down here and the minority are up there. But that's a reflection of the world entirely, because the world as in its entirety is owned by a very small minority of people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's a very small minority of people that own the majority of the world, while the majority of the world only gets to benefit from very little. Spread it out.
Yeah, really.
Like, that's a crazy. So like, that's the world sphere, and so of course you're gonna find it on a smaller scale.
And it's
in
interesting
countries.
because I heard some guy say something about reparation, right?
In what context?
In the context of like giving like the African slaves reparation, but he was like, bruh,
Yep.
even if you tried to pay the reparations,
You know
there
what the
is not
reparation
enough
is?
money in
No,
this
but
world.
Do you know what the reparation is? The reparation is actually written that they were meant to be given the reparation.
There is.
Yeah, of course.
But do you
No,
think
but you
this
know what
is
it
true?
is.
Do you think this is true that there is not enough money in the world right now to give reparations back?
The reparations is 40 acres and a mule.
40 acres and a mule.
That's the reparation. 40 acres and a mule. Yeah, 40 acres. Now, if you were to transfer what 40 acres today would be worth, that's a lot of money.
Right.
But is it feasible? Of course it is. it was feasible to take a bunch of people
Out of
strip 'em
Palestine.
strip them. I mean, yeah, I mean, but I'm even just saying these people.
Yeah.
You strip them of their heritage, their culture, their identity, their religion, and you took them across the water and
Yeah,
then you
that's very
enslaved them
true.
and then trained them and taught them that they were 3/5 of a man.
Yeah.
And then you freed them when you've broken everything that would make them identify with who they truly
While
are.
you've built your whole civilization on the
On their
shit.
backbones.
Yeah.
You didn't pay them anything. So reparations is really just like
Bro, they haven't even apologized for the shit.
you gotta. I mean, if you had somebody working for you, and then you just didn't pay them, and then you said to them you're gonna pay them, and then you still didn't pay them, and then their son comes and says, "Man, you didn't pay my dad."
Yeah.
You can't really be mad.
But you think about it, bro. Like these people who are living off of the backs of what their ancestors built, or their great grandfathers, or their great 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 grandfathers, right? I don't even think it was that long ago. Like what was it? 100
50 years
years
ago, bro,
There you go, bro.
is when completely like the segregation laws and stuff.
That's
Maybe
when
even
the
less, but
segregation
There are slaves. There are people who witnessed like the slave trade. and
that are
slavery
still
that are
alive.
still alive.
Yeah, that's freaking crazy, man.
And the thing about it is it changed from being like a slave.
And here I am,
master
like
and-
thinking, man, they got to give reparations back to Iraq. Give us back our gold. Give us back our oil, bro.
Oh, you mean
The
on a
whole
governmental
world.
level? Yeah, I mean, but that's been a thing, bro. If you go to Britain and then you go into a museum there, you're gonna see artifacts from all around the world that are priceless pieces.
Yeah,
but
bro.
They didn't pay anybody for
No,
it.
bro.
They
You know
broke
the
into
queen.
The country
The
and
queen
stole
has a
that shit.
diamond on her head that is taken from Africa.
She has a lot of things.
You
that
know what I
have been taken
mean?
From Africa.
So like, you give that like that big ass diamond back, and
Bruh,
you let them.
please. If they,
But
the
that- that's
stuff
not
they
happening,
have,
people.
man. No, of course
That's not
not. Because if I go into a store right now and I steal something, I'm a criminal. I'm a thief. But if I go into a country backed by an army and I kill, rape, pillage, force the people there to work the fields, to mine up the resources, whatever it might be, chop off the hands of the men who don't do enough work
Yeah,
that
if you
day.
try to run away, I'll chop
Bro,
your leg
forget
off.
running away. You know, in some places, in South America, the way they would ensure that they worked hard was if you didn't do enough to a certain level, which was extremely high, they would chop your hand off and make you wear it around your neck, bro.
God damn.
Like the barbarity is insane. Because you know what, man, the slave trade that's existed has always been a way to make money. And here's the thing, because when you think about wealth, before you had real banks, wealth was only something that was present in actual resources. Gold, silver, these things were seen as wealth. So even if you had gold, it wasn't even just coins. If you had like a silver cutlery and stuff like that, that was valuable, yeah? But that stuff, it just exists. It's a tangible thing. If you have it, you have it.
Yeah.
If I have this gold cup and I come and I buy something from you and I use the cup to sell it, now that cup is now yours.
Yeah,
There's
exactly,
only one
yeah.
cup. But when you talk about like currency that doesn't, it's just paper, it's just all plastic, they can print as much as they want.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no, that's it, it's done. Oh, we can just print more.
Bro,
Right?
I still believe that they can print as much money as they want, and it would still not be enough to pay back.
The printing of money is just backed by the fact that you have a system that is run on it. Now, that's what I'm saying. There are benefits and negatives of both, because what would happen is when there was just that kind of wealth, if I wanted to accumulate wealth, the easiest or the go-to way was, well, let's just raid another town
Yeah.
and take their wealth.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
That's
now
the Viking way.
Yeah, but there was many people's way.
Yeah.
Right? Even the Arabs, they used to have a thing, because in the Bedouin Arabs, I think it's called Grazouk or something like that, right? The Bedouin Arabs, life was difficult. You're out in the desert.
Yeah.
It gets hard sometimes,
Yeah.
right? So generally,
The heat
a
gets to
couple
your
of
head.
tribes were
Yeah.
doing pretty good,
Yeah.
but then another couple weren't doing good.
Yeah, of course.
It was never a time where everyone was all right.
Yeah.
Right. It was just always this like imbalanced balance. So the norm tradition, this is crazy, check this out. The normal tradition was that you could go in and you could steal cattle or try to take things from another tribe so long as you didn't get caught. If you got caught, oh, they're gonna kill you. And that was an accepted practice. It was just like given. Like, of course they're gonna come and try to steal from us. It's like a game. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
That's crazy, brother. That was, and you know why that was accepted practice? Because every single tribe had gone through some hard time and then some good time. So they all knew the value of that or the necessity of that. I'm losing my voice right now.
Yeah, man. Drink some water.
Drink some water.
Shit is insane.
But that's the thing. So money nowadays, if you look at how it runs now,
Yeah, money is
they're not going
bullshit
for gold and
nowadays.
silver.
It's not even
I mean,
real.
they are, but they're coming in and they're still taking the real wealth. And real wealth is gold, silver, and resources, oil, land, mass.
I feel like we've become a resource. Like you getting a mortgage.
We've become?
Yeah, like
We are a resource.
Yeah.
What do you mean we become? Let me tell you how much you're a resource. Do you have a birth certificate?
to this country.
Yes.
No, I don't.
You don't have a birth certificate
No,
to this country.
no, I'm
You-
a citizen
are
of
you a
this
citizen
country.
of country?
I am a part of the ship.
Do you have a tax file
citizenship.
number?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so your tax file number is a registration, is a validation for you as a being, as a number in the system of Australia that they can sell to world banks in saying, well, listen, we can borrow more money because look, we have another candidate that provides a certain amount of tax a year, and that generates wealth. Do you see what I'm saying? And so you're seen as a resource, as in you're seen as a commodity. You're put up as leverage.
Yeah.
I'm put up as leverage. Like, if you're part of the if you're part of this system, like if you're
Yeah, bro, you're a
part
part of the ship. That's why it's a citizenship.
And the ship's flag is Great Britain.
Yeah, right.
Because we're in the ship.
Because yeah, we're all part of it, man.
And that's
We all run
they're the
under
ones.
maritime law.
And what's crazy is so many countries are in debt. Like
Yeah,
in
bro.
billion-dollar debt.
Yeah, bro.
But who
Debt,
are they
like,
in debt to?
Yo,
what do you
it's
mean in
funny.
debt?
Like we're in debt to the people who
the
came
world-
to our lands and
Bruh,
fucked us up.
The world is like $78 billion in debt as a world entirely. To who? Like the world is in debt, right?
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Yeah, you're right. It's to the same. You know
Bro,
what, man?
we talk about reparations, right? But like, man, there are so many people that even India, like what the British did when they went to India, like there is so much shit that they took from India, like that they have to
yeah,
give
bro.
back. You know what I'm saying?
India. Listen,
So
it-
let's not talk about reparations like it's gonna happen because
I know, but you were saying about the African American experience
Yeah.
of reparation,
Do you
where it
think-
was actually written in, I think, in the in an amendment or something. This is what was
when
promised to them back when they were freed as part of Abraham,
Right.
what Abraham Lincoln wrote. So, but the issue is it never
Damn,
happened,
Yeah.
and the racism continued, but in a different structure. Where
Yeah.
there were no more plantations.
You
there were
are
now
no,
prisons.
yeah, no, you are now colored and white. Like there's always been
Yeah,
a
there were levels,
separation.
yeah.
You know what's interesting when Malcolm X says he went to Mecca and he was like shook because he saw like white people praying with black people, and he was like, man,
There were no different.
there was
differences,
nothing because when he was doing Hajj, it was like everybody was the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And
I
he
think
experienced the fact that the world could have a possibility of.
yeah,
getting
you know,
along with
like
something.
I believe like I don't believe in equity. I believe in equality. Like
No. You believe in equality or equity?
I believe in equality of outcome. Sorry, equality of opportunity, right? So like
Yeah.
the opportunity given to you should be the opportunity given to everyone.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in equality of outcome. Now, the opportunity given to African Americans is not the same as the opportunities that are given to say, I don't want to say the white man, but Europeans or the people who came to America earlier. So I think like when we try to speak about equality of opportunity, there has to be a legit thing. Like there has to be a legitimacy of opportunity for everyone. So like, how can there be equality of opportunity if an African American goes to work, right, or goes to apply for a job, but he doesn't get the job purely based on the skin, like on the color of his skin, right? And then
Do you know what affirmative action is?
what is affirmative
So
action?
affirmative action was something that they put in. They installed, I guess, where you had to have a certain amount of African Americans that work in a workplace, or like I guess minorities in a workplace.
Yeah.
And so some people had an issue with this, like, they're gonna give the job to a less qualified person just because of their skin color. But it's actually, in all reality, this is like, middle-aged white.
Yeah.
anger. The reality is when you're looking at exactly what you're saying, when you're looking at a group of people who don't get opportunities,
Yeah.
that it's so desperate that you need something like affirmative action in order for them to just get opportunities.
Yeah.
That's the glaring.
You know, I think the only way, man, that it's gonna happen is if we, the people, like if African Americans start their own businesses and hire their own people, because
Have you ever heard of Black Wall Street? Not the games label, Black Wall Street.
No.
Black Wall Street was an actual in California where they did that. They set up their own whole thing.
And it didn't
their
work.
Own Wall Street. No, it worked well.
Okay.
Until the feds came through and destroyed everything.
Of course.
And they created, what they've done in California is they've distinctively borderlined, without actual borders, the areas of where people can live, right? Where back in the 60s, if you were an African American couple and you were in a certain area, police would come and say, "What are you doing here?" And they'd move you on, or it's kind of set and designed in a way in order to keep people down, and that's across the board. So it's like, you freed them, but you've set them in a trap where you don't have plantations now, you have prisons where they're working for nothing.
Pretty much.
There are slaves in there.
Yeah, we're modern day slaves, man. Yeah. And I think, it's funny because people say I got a bunch of white friends as well who be saying this, no, but I'm white and I'm broke. It's like, fam, it's not you that is the white man we are talking about. There is a 1%, and that 1% isn't Africans. That 1% is made up of this gene that's been reproduced. These people are I don't know what it is. I don't want to say it's incest or anything like that, but bro, it's like a heritage. It's a group. It's a family. Bloodline. That's the word.
They're bloodlines that are in power.
And it's passed on, and it's passed on and on and on. Yeah. And that's the people, man. That's the people who have the power.
Right.
And they're not gonna give that power.
Well, no, I mean they worked so hard for it.
Yeah, right. So
much blood was spilled for that power.
Yeah, man.
It couldn't go to waste.
But
at the end of the day, the real power is always in the majority.
That's what the majority doesn't know. That's why you separate people.
Oh yeah, divide and conquer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying though.
I like the feed them Circus and sugar. Feed them sugar and Circus.
Feed them sugar. Is it sugar? Is it feed them cake and Circus?
Cake and Circus.
Yeah, because it's old. I think it's cake and Circus.
Yeah, well, they weren't thinking about sugar and the levels and calories and shit.
We live in the entertainment age.
Yeah.
Entertainment age.
What a time to feed people Circus.
I mean, it's all circus, and we want more circus. And while we're having circus, we're having not just cake, we're having the sugar on top of the cake too. You know what I mean? It's the excess of feeding cake and circus.
There's
and what's cake and circus? Just so if people don't know that saying.
No, break it down.
So the idea of circus is entertainment, and what they used to do is, if you looked at the Colosseums, the whole idea of having fighters in the Colosseums was an easy way to distract people and entertain them and keep them you give them something to look forward to, and then you can keep them controlled. You see what I'm saying? So it's even similar to the idea of the Super Bowl, where you give people something to champion, and they feel like they're part of something.
And that's why when people take a kneel in the Super Bowl, they go wild, because it's
Super Bowl. Yo, I mean, look, the Super Bowl in America is an interesting experience.
Yeah, I know you've experienced it because you've been there.
Yeah, I've experienced a couple of years of it, but some years more. The way people are fans. One of my friends, he's such a Patriots fan. He's got a tattoo of it. Yeah.
Yo, I'm back.
Yeah, go ahead. And then I have another friend, who's a friend of his, and he's a Falcons fan. And the Super Bowl was those two teams against each other. Now both of them have tattoos of their teams. This is the dedication. This is weird to me. Grown men with tattoos of sport teams. And then you watch it, and then you're seeing grown men in these sport uniforms, and you realize their whole life comprises of a game. Everything that matters, because they have to train, and they have to be out there in the field constantly, and they're doing everything revolves around a game. It's a game, but it's just a game. You know what I mean? But the game generates so much money, bro. And that's the thing. It's like the circus. That's the crazy and because people get so caught, and watching the Super Bowl with two fanatics of their teams, somebody had to lose. And it was, man, when the game was over, the Patriots won. Man, you know, when somebody, like, it's like their dog died, man. Like, people, their hearts are broken. It's the weirdest thing in the world. The world's about to come to the end. No, but like that for me, it's just interesting what people end up taking.
Bro,
really
I've seen the
serious.
craze of the Super Bowl, so it's pretty insane. I
Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
And I understand, like, it's like that with football hooliganism, like in the UK, you know, soccer.
That even more intense. That's why I say
Like,
when
people beat people up
Yeah,
over a
sport,
team,
yeah.
you know what I mean? And then the team, like, the people who are in the teams, they're like, it's like the football clubs, they got nothing to do with this. Like, the football
I know,
clubs are the ones like, yo, please stop doing this bullshit.
You're ruining the
but
game.
it's such a culture there
Yeah.
because of this idea, man. It's like
'Cause of
gladiators,
identity,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
But you know, that for me is an evidence when people say, "Oh, religion divides people," and then people fight each other. People will find anything to fight each other over. Like, if they can fight each other over sport teams, then don't worry about it just being religion. It's just whatever they have conviction about. If they have conviction about something negative, I mean, that's just how they're gonna.
Yeah, I mean, look at these guys.
What are these hooligan life?
Yeah, man. Like, come on, lads.
Like,
You know, running through the streets.
It's
Just
man, that culture is disgusting to me.
yeah, like, look at this guy. He's got blood on his
get drunk
face.
and fight each other because of sport teams.
Yeah, I remember watching a video of a guy who said he used to do that as well, and it's interesting the change, man. Like, he was talking about how, like, the UK needed Islam, and, like, because Islam banishes, like, the 5 major things that, like, his name's Hamza as well, EF Dawa, if you guys are wondering. And he's saying, like, how it banishes, like, the 5 things, like, that intoxicate the way that the toxic I don't remember how he phrased it, but these things are what are destroying the UK, you know?
Right.
Drinking, gambling, interest, sexual immorality. What else was the 5th one? I don't remember, but, like, even these 4, right?
Right.
These 4, like, within Islam, they're already solved, right?
Right.
So
Yeah, I mean, for the most part.
in a sense, like, when you follow a deen, it changes your principles, yeah? Like, your principles, because now you know, like, yo,
identify how they.
the Most High is watching me, and I don't want to mess around with that. Like, if you genuinely believe in it, you know?
But people still slip up.
Yeah, of course. Like,
It doesn't mean they don't believe.
yeah, I think
Do you know what I'm saying?
regardless, in Islam,
if you don't have them
regardless,
as
in Islam, regardless of you slipping up or not, I think at the end of the day, your judgment is with God. What you do in the Quran, it says how to behave, right? It says how to.
Yeah, I mean, you're going back to, like, the principles.
Yeah.
Of who you are. So if you're setting, but even on a social level, if alcohol is illegal,
Yeah.
or there's not a cultural custom for it, then even though some people will drink or might drink, you don't have a culture where everyone is drinking and destroying things, and that's an okay, acceptable attitude to have.
Yeah, like,
Right.
look, if
Is
you
that
want
a
to
true-
drink alcohol, man, I don't recommend it because I think it's a self-destructive thing.
Yeah, of course.
Just like there are so many other vices that are self-destructive, right?
Yeah.
But I just think, like, it's just interesting how he phrases it, and he says, like, these things, like, are already solved within Islam. Like,
Right.
the UK needs it because these things, like, if people implemented them and they took it internally and they changed themselves, like, the UK would be even better place. And he says he's not from the Middle East. Like, I'm a bloke from the UK. Like, I'm not an Arab, but the principles within this deen are what is needed to solve the problems that are happening in the UK. You know what I mean? So it was just really interesting because it was like the UK, Australia, the West is by far one of the best places you can live, I believe, because
of
I
course.
believe in this idea of, like, being able to say what you want to say, and I'm
Freedom of
more
speech,
power
yeah.
to you, freedom of speech, right?
Within reason.
and
without
yeah, like,
like producing hate or inciting violence or.
you know what the
bigotry
thing
or
is, bro?
racism.
If we weren't, like, for example, that you remember that Charlie Hebdo thing? Like, I reckon if Muslims weren't so ignorant, I'm gonna put it because
yeah.
and they got so angry about it
That's
like
the whole
if
point.
we were patient and calm and we weren't like
If we signed a
quick
petition,
to
perhaps.
react.
If we did a silent protest, perhaps. You know, why don't people try stuff? Have you ever seen a silent protest?
Why are people
where
so
they
aggressive?
say nothing and they just walk out? You know how much more effective it is to see 1,000 or 2,000 people say nothing
Bro.
and just silent, walking, marching with like, man, that's.
Bro, I remember a guy telling me when he saw Muslims praying together, like it shook him because there was such a large group and he was versing him in a football game, and he saw them praying together, right? And it shook him. Why? He was like, because it just looked like they were already a unit, you know?
Yeah, a connection.
Look at, all it is people who flock together, you know what I mean?
I think prayer, like the Islamic prayer, like salah, is an amazing thing because you could be walking, that connects people, right? Because you could be walking in a park or somewhere and you're like, man, it's time to pray. And then you look to your right and you just so happen to see a couple of like guys lining up to pray. You don't know them for nothing. You can walk right up, take your shoes off right there,
and start
share
praying
that
with
rug
them.
that they have out. Man, they'll make room for you without saying anything to you. You just quickly line up with them and you just start praying because it's a given. One of the things when I really came into Islam that I loved was that sense of, if like we have already a commonality, something deep that embeds us in each other, something that connects us, something that unifies us in a way where I don't need to even know your name to know that you and I, we bond.
Yeah,
And
because
it's not because you're not cool with everyone else.
Yeah,
It's just I know your principles.
yeah, it's like we're already connected. We're already connected, and I believe that about I believe that is the case with most faiths, because like if you really believe and you really read the Quran, in the Quran it says like those who do righteous deeds regardless of their religion, they should not fear God, because God will. Let me actually read it for
says
you.
to the Jews, Christians, Sabians, Magians, those who I mean, you can find the verse.
Yeah.
Better than me paraphrasing poorly, but
No, you paraphrase it and then let me hear it.
But like the premise is that when you go around the world, you see people who have different beliefs, and many, if not most, come from at one point the tradition of prophetic revelation.
It says, verily, those who have attained to faith in the divine scripture, that's like in brackets as well, in the divine scripture, as well as those who follow the Jewish faith and the Christians and the Sabians, all who believe in Allah and the last day and do righteous deeds shall have their reward with their Lord, and no fear need they have, and neither shall they grieve. And it says, and say to the Christians and the Jews and the believers, right? We believe in that which was sent down to us, as well as in that which was sent down to you. And our God and your God is one.
Mm-hmm. That's why when somebody said to me, yeah, you believe in God, which one? There's like, you know, all around the world, people have all these different names for gods, or they have different gods, you know, so which God is it? And I said, they all, one way or another, the same God. If you have many gods in a faith, they're generally the characteristics or attributes of the one and the same God, right? They're just like demigods or, you know, partial gods. Or you have different names and ideas of the one and the same. So it's like there is only one. And that's why even the idea of no matter what you worship, all praise goes back to the one, you know. So it's like, that's what it is, man. If, you know, one of the prime principle things that I try to...
And sorry for it. And the thing is, like, people try to shift it like the Muslim community is against everyone.
When Islam, you know,
I just read something from the Quran that tells me, yo, you could be whatever faith as long as you do righteous actions and you follow your principles the right way. You don't have to fear. No fear need you have, you know, because your judgment is with God alone. Like, because your God and my God are one God. That's it.
It's very inclusive. I watched the intellectual, I forgot what his name was, but he was Christian intellectual. What was his name? This guy, anyways, he was doing a review on the Quran.
Yeah.
And in his review of it, he said that it was an extremely inclusive faith. That it, from his reading of it,
Yeah.
he saw it that there was a prophet that was sent to all people. All religions have that reflection, and that Islam really more so looks at this is a reflection of the revelation that came to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to his ummah, like his community, which are the Muslims. But that there are other communities, and they're valued. They're not seen as non-communities or just the infidel, as people try to make it out to be. When really, throughout European history, they always just looked at everyone else as, if you're not Christian, then you're you are the disbelievers, you are the pagans. They even looked at Muslims as pagans, as polytheists, as they call pagan devil worshippers and whatever. And it's like, you hate something you don't even know, but that's because of the information that was given to them. But that's the thing, Islam is, and that's what really one of those things that stood out for me is that connection. Because when I was like looking into faiths, one of the key things I would look at is, okay, well, what does this faith say about other faiths?
Yeah.
Like, how do you explain other faiths?
Yeah.
And a lot of them would just be like they're deviant, or they're just wrong, or they or Satan gave it to them, stuff like this, which I've read about, But with Islam, what I found was that it said, that a prophet or a messenger had come to all people. And then there was that you would find that a reflection in the people because they have their beliefs and they have religion. And that at one point, originally in its purest form, came from like God. But obviously it changed at some point. But it didn't dismiss anybody. It wasn't dismissive in that way.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh no, we believe in Jesus, but he was a prophet, he's a messenger. It's not, there's no sun god worship type of thing. The Jews, they were people who received revelation. Oh yeah, the Sagians and the Magians, these words were really reflections of people
I was
like
talking
Hindus
to
and
some
Buddhists.
Christians the other day as well about it, and I was like to them, the only reason I can't become a Christian is because there is someone in the middle. There is a middleman. And I was like to them, when Abraham went to his people and he told them, don't worship these idols weren't the only things, like they were worshiping these idols as middlemen to get to God.
Because they still believed in God.
And then she was like to me, but Jesus isn't a statue. I'm like, but Jesus is a man. You know what I mean? Like, he's still a middleman. Me and my creator, there is no middleman between us.
I mean, it plays the same role because the statue, they believed, it wasn't that the statue was God, is that the spirit of God was living in the statue or inhabited the statue. In the same way that you would say that the spirit of God was inhabiting the body of Jesus. I mean, he was a human reflection of God. That's the Christian interpretation of it. So, yeah, and that's the other thing. It's about like that. Really, for me, it's rationality now. More than anything, the way I look at my beliefs is they have to really be logically and rationally compliant. And they should be taken within the context of as much information as we have about the world. Because what the Quran says and what Islam is really trying to create is open-minded people who are investigators, who are researchers, who are those who are seeking. And you don't see that really a lot right now. And that's the unfortunate thing, because that's what dogma does.
Yeah.
But it's really at its nature designed to have people go out there, and that's what it did initially. Originally, that's
the idea of discussion. The idea, the word is called logos. Yeah. So the Muslims took that from Plato, right? And from the Greeks. It wasn't just Plato that used it, but it meant discussion. Like, it meant to, like, it was like a discussion, argument. It stands for many things, right? They took that and they interpreted it into a word called aql. Right? Logic. Like,
because it's logical to discuss things.
Because to have something like a discussion between me and you and have a disagreement, even if we're both Muslim, is essential to something growing and evolving.
Otherwise, all you have is just you're setting your opinion.
Otherwise,
and then that's it. And it's
dogma,
or not
bro.
even opinion. You're just saying whatever you've been taught.
Exactly.
And then you're running with that
exactly.
because you've never been. If your belief is bulletproof, then hearing an opposing idea should never shake you, because
Yeah.
your idea is bulletproof. I'm so open. It's the fluidity is the
Exactly,
important
bro. You should never be stiff about something. You
Yeah.
should always be fluid, because when you're fluid, you can absorb things, even if it's a hit,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
Like, but when you're stiff
Mhm.
and you take a hit, you demolish, right? You shatter into
right.
pieces.
Yeah.
So I just think, like, yeah, man, Bruce Lee said it so well. Like, you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle, right? Like, that's a great philosophical idea, because if you can't become something else, then there's no need to like follow what you're following, because it's not going to fit my lifestyle. It only fits you. I don't want to change into what you are. Like, why do I have to change into what you are? Why do I have to believe what you believe? Like, I should have the ability to have my own beliefs as well.
Without offending you.
Yeah, exactly.
Or without making you feel some kind of way, like you have to control how I feel. If I have to believe exactly like you in order for your beliefs to feel justified to you or legitimized, then there's a problem with what you believe.
Then I'm just like everyone else.
But we could discuss things, and we can share intellectual ideas, and we can disagree at the end of it, but appreciate the, for me, as long as, like, if we're talking in the reference to, like, even as Islam, right?
Yeah.
For me, it's just like the basis is the Quran and Sunnah, right? That's how people see it. The basis is mainly the Quran, a revelation, and the teachings of the Prophet that have survived, the Sunnah. Not so much just Hadith, because Hadith are just stories about those.
It's interesting because
but the
people,
Sunnah,
they don't see the. I remember saying that to my dad. Like, I was like to him, it's about, like, and I was like, and he's like to me, man, it's not about Hadith. It's about, he's like, I still follow the Sunnah. He's like, it's about, like, the actions. You know what I mean? Like, these actions have been left behind.
Exactly. Because
they're not lost in space. You know what I
here's the thing,
mean?
before, the earliest book of Hadith written was the Muwatta by
Yeah.
Imam Malik.
Yeah.
And that came 150 years Hijrah.
Yeah.
Right? Now, before that, and we're not even talking Bukhari or Sahih Muslim.
There were
which
probably
came
other
later.
muhaddithin
There are
as well,
heaps,
right?
heaps. But I'm just saying the popular one. So if you even look at it on a time scale, so before you had Bukhari and Imam Muslim and Tirmidhi, and then even before you had the Muwatta, even before that,
Yeah.
you had people who knew how to pray,
Yeah.
right?
And you had people who knew how to break down the Quran without having to go to a mufti or to a sheikh.
Yeah, but one of the things that people would say is, well, without hadith, how would you even know how to pray,
Mm.
right? But how did they do? They didn't
It's
have
called
books.
amal, bro.
They didn't have books. They didn't
Yeah.
go, okay, well, how do I do this? I'm going to go read it in the hadith. Hadith weren't even written yet. But how did they know these things? Amal, tradition.
Actions,
because it was
bro.
actually exactly handed down. It was a physical thing, a real thing. It was living. And so when the sunnah is living, now what we have of hadith is a written record of things that were lived or living still, right? Because
Yeah.
we still do it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't guarantee that it's the correct writing about it. The safest thing is the actual tradition as it was handed of what of it is. That's why the school of Medina, and it's all about having opinions and different views. So you could have whatever school and follow that. But the interesting thing is the school of Medina's way of looking at hadith,
Yeah.
not sunnah. Hadith is, if it's logical, we take it on board.
Yeah.
If it isn't logical, then we throw it away. It's that simple.
It's meant to work with that, bro, because logic is important, I mean, look, it's cool. Like, I'm not like fully with science, or I'm not fully with anything. Like I said, I'm fluid in my beliefs. Like, I believe in the supernatural. Like, I believe in angels and
Right.
demons and jinn but the thing
Why
is
is that supernatural?
to science it's
No,
supernatural.
but I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, in like modern ways of looking at it, maybe we try to say it, but I'm just like, I'm debating the idea, and this is
Go ahead.
my reason why I'm debating it. We call it supernatural because we haven't seen it yet, but that's the hubris of man, that we think that we even know every single creature that exists on this earth right
Yeah.
now, when we know that there are creatures that are so adapted to hiding from us because of how destructive we are, that we may never have seen them. We may never have traced them. There are like creatures that go like extinct. Even if you look at like 100 years or 200 years ago, we didn't even have the capacity to look into the ground, to really see the amount of
Yeah.
living organisms that are within it. That doesn't mean they didn't exist or that they don't. So the idea that, well, we haven't seen it yet is the cutoff of what is and what isn't. It's natural.
Bro,
It's
all
still
we
part
need
of
to
nature.
do is look at ancient cultures, right? And look at what ancient cultures were able to do and things that we look at them and we don't understand.
Right, and so we just say it's a
Like,
mystery.
they're our own people. You know, we're the same thing as them, but we don't understand some of the things they were capable of, like the pyramids, right? How did that happen? We don't understand it. So,
But you know, we don't understand it, and I'm not saying that anyone knows proof-wise like that completely. But the biggest reason why we don't understand stuff like the pyramids and how they were built is because we're still looking at it from a tint, from a subjective frame of like the Western idea or the modern idea of how history played out.
yeah.
When there are other ways of looking at historically man
Yeah.
that would make sense more as to how this could be possible.
Yeah.
The thing is, the evidence is there that it's possible. They've done it. We can see it. It's a great wonder. So we cannot deny that. So the question is how.
Yeah.
So then that should throw in the fact that maybe we're wrong about the development of like our ancestors, human ancestors. I think the idea is that it's always been a progression where we've only gotten better, but maybe we're not realizing that at some point we were like this, and then there was a major drop, and then we went back up like
True.
this. Or
True.
A
If
major
you look
drop.
at the
How do
like
we know?
the Sumerians, right? Have you know the Sumerians? They were like what?
Yeah, of
the-
course, I know this, man. Yeah. Sumer.
Like-
It's
yeah.
from like where Babylon is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
like in Iraq, right? And you look at some of the. Let me show. Have you seen that tablet where they have the galaxy,
I've
bro?
studied a fair bit of Sumerian. Yeah,
Bro,
yeah.
you seen that tablet
Of
though?
course I
Yeah.
have,
The
Sitchin wrote a
you've
whole
heard
book
of the
about it.
Sitchin thing?
Brother,
Okay, cool.
When I
Brother.
say I studied it, I mean I spent a long time on that.
Yeah,
Like,
you
heavy.
seen the website that proves all of the Sitchin stuff wrong? Like
Yes, I have.
Yeah, cool,
Yeah,
good.
so
good.
I don't believe Sitchin, but I believe
that
he was onto
theory, bro,
something.
that-
yeah.
Because
Well, I
okay,
mean, listen,
all
we
it is
can-
is
you
one.
wanna pull up
Let's
something to have a-
let's
have a
pull it
quick-
up and let's see the tablet, right? Because that shit's insane, bro.
Yeah, we can talk about how it outlines. It has
And
the
Zachariah
planets-
Sitchin's has a
it ha-
photo with him and the tablets, bro.
Yeah, so it has the
And-
planets and it has the sun.
And
so
the
how
solar
would they know
system.
how the solar system looks?
Come
and how it
on,
all
fam.
Looks without the idea that Sitchin presents is that the Anunnaki,
The Anunnaki,
or
yeah.
like an alien group
From-
came to Earth and they created a race, the human race, in order to serve them, in order to mine.
They
our
evolved
resources.
the human race, yeah.
Yeah, we evolved over time, and we evolved to such a point where I guess we
Because
were
we
able
mixed
to rebel.
with the Anunnaki.
We mixed with the Anunnaki.
Yeah.
And so there was a rebellion, and they've left, and they'll probably come back some other time.
Yeah, whoop our
in a
asses.
long future. That's the premise.
But yeah, the premise
So-
is it's funny, right? But it's
no, it isn't, bro. For a good time, I entertained it because of the tablets and stuff like that. So I studied
the
it
tablets
in
are
detail
what's
until I was
interesting,
able
right?
to debunk it. Because once I realized, look, some of it has some validity to it, but I don't think we were made from aliens. I think we landed here off a rock, the organism that initiated life on this earth, and we've all evolved from that.
yeah.
And then we've become hominoids, and Homo sapien, the greatest like form of a
Like
hominoid
the
there is.
I'm just gonna cover it so you guys can see. Up on the left side of it is where the solar system is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That shit's crazy, man.
Yeah, so it has the solar system there.
It literally has the planets and the sun and everything revolving around the
Here's
sun.
The thing about that, I know what you mean, and it is quite. There's another image where it looks like the sun with the rays, but at the same time, perhaps I'm just saying we're
Perhaps
still
it
applying
isn't
our
sun.
context.
It
You
is
see what I'm
true.
saying?
It is true.
Like perhaps we're like maybe. It
But
means
what do
something
you?
Completely different.
I don't. What do you think that could be?
No, that's my point. Maybe it's beyond what we would understand it now. That's lost knowledge.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? But at the same
'Cause they had
time,
people
it
with
does have
wings.
Yeah.
They had, all types of stuff. They had little people, big people. Yeah, man, it's trippy as, bro.
Yeah, like
Sitchin's wrote an interest, like he wrote interesting works, like,
He
and he was
definitely
really obsessed with that idea
The
that
Anunnaki. Yeah.
at the Anunnaki and the 12th planet, and they had their own planet, and they went back to that planet.
Naribu,
Yeah, Naribu.
the X planet. That the planet Naribu is the planet that is connected into our like galaxy, but it's so out on the line that only like every maybe couple of thousand or 40,000 years that does it come close enough that it comes within. And so they say that's when they would launch themselves from their planet to be able to reach our planet. But they have to wait such a long time in order for that to be like possible.
Yeah.
So like they were once here, and they probably return. I think like it was like another 20,000 years or something like that.
But
Like,
yeah.
have you ever heard of these theories? The Anunnaki theories are like crazy interesting. And so
Yeah.
because of these tablets and the Sumerians having that kind of knowledge, and they were the earliest civilization.
They were the earliest
Yeah.
civilization,
There may have
and
been
the
some
shit they built,
civilizations
bro.
at near the same time,
Yeah.
but they were the early. Have you never heard of Sumerians? Yeah,
Of course.
oh, yeah, of course you have. Yeah, of course. So the Sumerians early and they spoke no, were they spoke Akkadian? I think they did speak Akkadian. But the Sumerians, man, interesting people. But
yeah, like
that
look at
long
this
ago-
tablet, for example, the big man and the little people, right?
So the big man is
the Anunnaki
is
and
the deity, the Anunnaki man. And then
But I think even that could be a demigod, and then
post it up there.
Yeah, sure. And that could be a demigod, and and like even this the ray with the sun, right? Again,
Yeah.
that's on the Assyrian flag, right?
Yeah.
Because the Assyrians are the modern day Sumerians, right?
The Assyrians are modern day Assyrians. I mean, here's the thing about that. When you're saying they're the modern day Sumerians, you know the term, the country Syria.
Yeah.
Its name comes from Assyria because that's the whole area. So I guess in the world you have people who still trace their bloodline or still trace their heritage to Assyria. But even the idea of Assyrians were many tribes, because of the amount of mixing, many people would still connect back to those people.
Yeah.
There were so many different tribes, man. And if you're from a place like the Middle East,
Yeah.
because I've done my DNA, like my heritage and stuff, and the reason why they were doing it for Lebanon was because that's an area in the world that has had so many.
Did you get any European in yours?
In the European.
You must have gotten some French.
I had no French.
What?
No, I had-
your family was
I had
fighting
Turkish.
those. Yeah. They were like, man, you ain't coming in here spreading your genes.
If you're talking about from that area of the world, the Caucasus Mountains, Turkish,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of Turkish.
Mm-hmm.
That's a given. You look at when you talk about Arabs, that scale on Arabs of color, the lower you get in the Middle East, or the more pure the Arab, the darker they're gonna be. Original Arabs were actually very dark.
Yeah.
You go further up into the Sham, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, even Iraq to a certain extent.
Yeah.
They're gonna be lighter skinned because of all the mixing. The Turks,
Yeah.
Turkish, Georgian, but then I have all of the Middle East equally with Lebanon. Like Lebanon isn't a major factor.
Yeah.
Excuse me, there was a.
Yeah.
But then I have North African, and then I have the Congo. I had 5% from the Congo, bro. Central Africa, and that's the diversity, man. You got to do yours.
Yeah, like
You have to do yours.
I ordered it, and then I don't think they sent it to the right address. I got to refill.
Somebody else is doing your heritage test.
They get back like results that they're Arab, and they're like, wait, and turns
Wait,
out it was a big
what?
hoax. You know what I mean?
Mine once said 95% Middle Eastern, 5% African.
I love it. 95% Middle East.
Public enemy number one, 95% Middle Eastern. And if that wasn't bad enough, throw 5% on top of that.
I wonder if I get
make
like,
him African.
you know why I want to do mine so bad? Because I'm so
Huh?
curious.
From Sudan. My African wasn't from Sudan. It's from the Congo. From the Republic, the Congo Republic, the Central Africa. Because I have North African, but they count North African as Middle Eastern.
In the Congo, there was
Yeah,
a Belgian
right.
dictator that was chopping the hands off the people. If they
It was
didn't-
in the Congo.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
story where they chopped their hands if they didn't. What was it?
If they didn't meet their quota.
if they didn't meet their quota.
That's messed
That's
up.
what he would do to
They
them.
had to get sap from this tree, like to make rubber.
Oh, yeah, it's the rubber making,
And
bro,
also,
evil.
if they didn't make their quota and there was no hand to chop off, then they'd go to their daughters or their children.
That's
chop their hand.
crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
they chop your daughter. Imagine having to wear your daughter's hand around your neck. I seen something like that, bro. That image burnt me, man.
You've seen the image?
I've seen the image,
The one
man.
who's looking at his daughter's,
Yeah, bro. It's the fact that there are human beings that are capable of that, bro. That's why I believe in a hell.
Yeah,
I don't
man.
think it's for regular Joes, man. It's for
Yeah.
people that are that level. It's just like, because some people say, but why would God make a place like hell? Have you seen some of the people that inhabit this earth or have? Not the regular. You know, I was listening to Sheikh Hamza Yusuf a little bit today, right? And he said something that, he said that this earlier scholars and, you know, a variety of people had said, but what he was trying to say, and this is epic, he said, somebody said, if all the good people got together and got rid of all the bad people, there'd be no people on earth. Because the good people are the best of the bad people, and the bad people are the worst of the good people. You see,
Right.
because everybody has good in them and bad in them.
You know,
and,
that's
and
crazy.
he said that the difference between those, like the righteous
Yeah.
and the not, are those who their good outweighs their bad.
Yeah,
Not that they have no bad.
yeah.
And we have to stop looking at the world like it's
Have
the
you heard
good
of
versus evil.
Have you heard of Carl Jung?
Yeah.
Carl
Yeah.
Jung said everything that is negative within you is within me. So so the way he tried to look at people, and he got in a lot of trouble for this. And they told him, "Do you think Hitler is evil?" He said that, and he's like, "The evil that is within Hitler is within me." You know what I mean? And he got roasted
I don't think that
for
was
that.
gonna work out well. That
You know?
sentence never would.
But
in any
but
room would
how
work out
interesting is that? That's kind of like Sheikh Hamza's like quote. Like it's
like, yeah, but the Sheikh Hamza Yusuf quotes a lot better than saying.
yeah, right. But like
but I get the
why
premise.
was Hitler evil?
No, but see, the
It was
Sheikh Ham-
due to circumstance, right? And
Yeah,
why
yeah.
was Carl Jung good? It was due to circumstance.
But I also believe at some point there is circumstance, which I would call destiny.
yeah,
But then the part that I would call free will is what you let the circumstance do to you.
Yeah, of course.
Because, bro, there's in the same house, you're going to have a one kid to come out a serial killer, and the other one, you can have a kid come out a doctor. And they could have faced the same experience. What I'm saying is it does play an integral role. Nature or nurture plays an integral role, but so does nature in essence. Because you think, like, the difference is, all right, both can be bad, but one, the good will outweigh the bad, while the other, the bad will outweigh. It's like a choice, like our foundational beings. You know, this idea of like destiny. People say, well, how can it be destiny and free will? And I think I've shown you this before.
yeah. You told me that they run parallel to each other, right?
They do, but Imam Ali, because you
Yeah.
like quoting Imam Ali.
Give us the
Alayhi
quote, bro.
salam. Imam Ali, he when he was questioned, how do you explain free will and destiny
Yeah,
being together, preordination? He said, okay, well, he said to the man, stand up. The man stood up and he said, stand on your left foot. So the man put his right foot up and stood on his left foot. He said, you can do this, yes? And he says, yeah. Like, he said, that's free will. He says, now stand. Now pull your right foot up as well. He says, but I couldn't. Then I'd fall. He's like, that's destiny. You see, there are some things that you cannot do, regardless if you want to. And there are other things you have the liberty to do. So it's like a game. Like in our days, it's like playing a game. Now the game has been created. The software somebody created. So even if it's a free world, you know, open world games, there's still barriers at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
But in that open world, you have the freedom of certain things you can do.
I hear that everything that it's all been written, your life has all been written, but your dua has the power to change it.
So I've heard that too, that it's all been written, but your supplications can change it. And I think the reason why that is, the idea it's all been written, is not so much about it's destined for you, it's over. Is the fact that for God there isn't time. So if it could, whatever's gonna happen for you, Allah already knows. Even the fact that you're gonna supplicate and that it's gonna change for you, already knows. So it is predestined. As in, your destiny is there, but it's more so that Allah knows your destiny, because He knows the points where you're going to change, but you're still going to act out those changes. They're still going to happen, and those changes are still yours. That's why there were some Muslims who said, well, we cannot be held accountable for anything we do. Allah is in control of everything. But that's the balance. They're not contradictory. They have the perfect balance. That there are some things that are inevitable, but what you do within it, like getting to it from A to B, that is all you. That's why you're held accountable. You know what I mean? That's why, like that's why, bro. Because people are going to be good and people are going to be evil. And the Prophet was once questioned by his companions, peace be upon him. And they said, if it's like destiny, if those who are made for paradise are in paradise, will go to paradise, and those who are made for hell will end up in hell, then is there even a point of doing anything good? And he says, those who are made for paradise find that they cannot do but good. You know, they're just inclined to good. And those who are for hell find themselves just inclined to bad. Like, at the end of the day, your nature will show itself. And you can alter and develop yourself, but that becomes your choice of what you do with yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that becomes the reflection of it. That's why, man, the best thing we can do is not look at people as good and bad. You know, these people are evil, these people are good. That's unrealistic. It's not reality. Human beings are complicated. They're like 37 shades of gray. They're just variations. You know what I mean? It's not good and it's not bad. It's like there's levels to it. There's even, you got to take in consideration people's intention, not just their action. Do you know what I mean? Or even the fact that, like, due to certain circumstances, then action from that person might be not as horrendous if it was from a different person in a different circumstance or culture or different environment, based on even just like how easy it is for you to conduct that kind of a sin or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Based on, you know, your surroundings. So that's why only the Creator could judge you.
Yeah.
And we as human beings, like in Islam, we're taught make 72 excuses, or is it 99 excuses for your brother or sister? Like, one great scholar said that if I saw like a Muslim walking out of a bar, I would say that he was there to use the restroom, not that he was there to drink. I say that if I saw alcohol in his beard, I say that somebody threw it at him, and not that he drank it.
Yeah, right.
You see, I saw, like, there were levels to this. There's actually a story. Do you know the story of the
If he had alcohol in his
sinner
breath,
man?
he was tortured with it.
Oh, what was that?
No, I was just playing. He was forced. It's like.
There's a story of a guy.
No, but you have to make excuses for people. Why? Because, like, I think it goes back to that thing. Like, if you see evil within them, really, you're looking at yourself. Like, it's like that whole thing about. Yeah, it's that whole thing as well about like within you is me, right? Within me is you. And for me to see evil within you is like me reflecting my
evil.
Not like I'm just reflecting off of you. You know, that's why sometimes I believe sometimes people can be in hell on earth. Like, because you could be looking at like, for example, homeless people, right? Or people who are on drugs and they give everything up for this. You look at them, you can't, because it's just like, even if you look at them for too long, they're in hell. Like, they will get angry at you for looking at them. Like, it's just like they're so within this thing that they can't come out. Like, sometimes there can be a change, but it's like, it's almost like they're in hell. Yeah, they're like in hell on earth. And like, it's weird. Like, I don't know. I remember my parents teaching me this, but like when obviously when Judgment Day comes and like people ask you like, and you're in Jannah and they're in hell, and they're like, help me or whatever. And you're like, you made the decisions you made. Like, I can't change what you did, you know? And then they get mad at you. And I was just like, it's just interesting because it's like,
blaming others is not the answer, man. I think that I try to remind.
But within that is a hell. Like, it's a trap. Like, you've fallen into this abyss. Like, and you can go deeper and I think and deeper into it. And it's like, have you ever tried? Like, okay, I'll tell you the story, right? About I tried to like cover a homeless man. I tried to give my jacket to him because I thought he was freezing cold and it was a cold night. But when I went to put it over him, he lost it, man. Because I don't know what he was on, right? But he lost it. and he couldn't even look at me in the face. And I was like, man, like, are you serious? It's cold. Like, just take the jacket at least. And he's like, you don't fucking understand. He's losing it, you know?
The trauma, man.
And I was like, wow, man. Like, this man is literally in hell on earth. Like, he's in his own hell. Like, he can't escape it because he's, like, in an abyss. Like, when you don't see anymore, that for me is, like...
What do you mean when you don't see?
Okay, so...
You don't mean physically, literally.
No. I mean, like, an analogy kind of type way.
An analogy, yeah.
Yeah, it's an analogy for, like, the way he views the world, I guess. Like, it's... Regardless, like, he doesn't care anymore. Like, you know? I need to figure out how to explain it better.
He's lost hope.
He's lost hope. Not only hope, but he doesn't... Despair is the word, bro.
Because, I mean, in our tradition, despair is why Iblis, or why Satan, who becomes Satan, falls. More, not because of the sin, but because of his despair of God. It's when you, like,
he gives up, right?
Completely. And he does the other thing. He blames. That's why I said it's interesting you said that. Because the two things he does in his reaction to what he does wrong is, no, it isn't my fault. It's your fault. Don't blame me. No, what do you mean? How could it be my fault? And then the second reaction is, oh, well, if I'm going down, I'm going to take him down. It's complete despair. At no point was there, you know, sorry.
Yeah.
At no point was there, I get why, you know, I messed up. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. That's like, Iblis fell to, like, nafs, the ego. And most of the issues that people will face in their lives is them getting in their way, their ego.
Yeah.
Like, instead of saying what they need to say to somebody, they'll hold their tongue because of an ego situation. Even people who are, like, you know, easily, people who are cocky, people who are overconfident, we can say, oh, that's their ego, vanity, right? But even people who always undermine themselves, always doubt themselves, always stop themselves, sometimes that self-pity is ego, because you're still thinking about yourself instead of thinking about what you can do, you know, or just doing the thing. And it's something that will always hold people back. And so, like, checking your ego is one of the most necessary things to do on a constant basis. That's why reflection is important. But if you don't ever take time out to reflect, and we don't live in a society that advocates for reflection. We live in a society of cake and circus.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're constantly entertained. Are you entertained yet? Is this not what you're here for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And bro, I also believe, like, we can be in heaven at times on earth. You know what I mean? Like, but we don't notice it because we are there. You know what I mean? Like, because we're so caught up in this moment of beauty that you don't notice you're, like, almost like in a heaven on earth.
Like a light version, like a free version of an app.
Allah makes references to things we know, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't figure it out. Like, for example, like rivers of milk, right? Rivers of milk and honey.
You know what I think that means?
Go on.
I mean, if you want to finish what you're saying.
No, I was just saying the analogy is there because it's like you have to relate to it. Otherwise, if he was gonna say something like rivers of quote unquote whatever.
Yeah, rivers of Gulaba.
Yeah, and you're just like,
Gulaba?
what's that? You don't know that, boy? You are in for a surprise.
There's this, like, liquid called Gulaba. Amazing. Okay, but that means nothing to me.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Not only is it something relatable. And by relatable, like, in the essence of saying, well, have you ever had, like, an apple before? Yeah. Well, in heaven, if you were to have an apple, it'd be 1,000 times better than an apple on earth. Now, I know how good an apple could be.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, man, that apple in heaven would be crazy. That is relatable. But the Quran, for example, how it relates paradise is in such a way that it's relatable to the people it's being revealed to. That's why even the reference of paradise being Jannah is a garden.
Yeah.
Its etymology is garden. Because you think about it, the people it's coming to, what's the last thing that they get to see? A garden. They're in the desert. So they could truly appreciate the difference in that, right?
Yeah, right.
But if it's revealed to people who are in gardens all day, or in the forest,
They'll be like,
they're like,
man,
oh, yeah,
I'm always,
yeah, I get it. Yeah, cool. God, it's forest here. And that's the thing about it, which is more so a reflection of the fact that it's all like a simile. Like it's all just an analogy
Yeah.
of what it would be. It's not saying that that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's saying that's the way you.
And that's what I mean by heaven on earth and hell on earth as well. It's an analogy. Like it's not really like
actual
hell that people.
But it's like a taste of it.
Yeah, really, isn't it? Because
It is a
bro,
taste of it, bro. Oh, think about the fact that you know what like the fact that you have taste buds. The fact that that food is flavorsome, like fruit is flavorsome without us even doing anything. The fact that we can enjoy it. Like food could just have been like nasty, but we would eat it because of the necessity. Or think about the fact that like there's this ease in breathing, or how our bodies are designed for the way they work.
how our minds were designed, how we've been
computers.
able to not only evolve like ourselves, but like even fruit. Like we've domesticated fruit for the love of God.
Yeah.
Like, you know, watermelon
we
used
can-
to look like squiggly on the inside,
Yeah,
and
right.
now it's just flat red and it's full of sugar and juice. Like
yeah.
we
It's
did
flavor.
that to watermelon.
Yeah, because you know why? That's the gift I believe that the Creator gave Adam, like mankind.
Yeah.
This is the distinctive difference between you and all this other creation. This is why the big deal is about you, because you can manifest things. I am the Creator. You can't create,
Bro.
but you can manifest things. You can take.
No, you know
something
what it
and-
is? I gotta drop this on you. Jordan Peterson was saying that, you know what's interesting is humans are the only creatures who sacrifice.
Right.
That's why even sacrifice is mentioned in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Like
In the Quran.
in the Quran as well. Like why, like a bird, like a dog, for example, you go to him, sacrifice this bone and I'll give you 2 bones later. He's not going to be like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah,
No, he's going to be like,
that
give me
bone.
my bone now. Give me
Yeah.
my bone now. Yeah. But whereas if you go to a human, sacrifice 4 years of your life and I will give you a diploma. Like I will give you an education. Like they go through hell for that. Like humans are the only ones, and sacrifice comes with time, right? And when I was thinking about that, bro, I think Allah like gave us the ability to do that. Like, you know how we're talking about to rationalize, yeah? Sacrifice is part of that, you know? Like to sacrifice.
Yeah, you're using your logic to come to a conclusion that although this doesn't feel good now, it will pay off later.
Exactly.
That's
And,
a rational.
and that's part of manifestation as well.
Yeah, of course, bro. Because if you look at all the other creatures, Allah gave like eagles the ability to see like we could never imagine. But He gave us the ability to make binoculars.
Yeah.
You see? But He gave the bear immense strength, but He gave us the ability to create weapons.
Yeah.
Like,
Because one man was like,
or make a knife.
there's
or
a
sword in order
problem
to chop
going
things
on
down,
right
or-
now, and I have to come up with a solution to this problem.
Yeah,
and he
we-
manifests a gun to hunt to keep his family
Yeah,
safe.
right, exactly.
Or the man manifests freaking
Or I have information that I want to share with others. I'm going to draw it on this wall. Or I'm going to now create paper.
yeah.
And then I'm going to share it with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm going to create the internet. So I don't have to even waste paper.
And
I can
people
send it anywhere in
and
the
you
world.
think about it, like people have sacrificed time and their lives and
Yeah.
and who they were. Like they, for example, Newton, right? Look at what he did. Like his whole existence is like he was a weirdo to people, but he sacrificed who he was for what he was going to leave
Isaac
behind.
Newton believed in one God
Yeah.
and didn't consider Jesus to be the Son of God. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, the idea as well is very interesting because you think about the Son of God, and it's very, it's an old idea. It isn't new. Osiris, you know, like,
Mithra.
yeah. There's so much. There's so much.
Spirituality
yeah.
gets shared around, so like that.
And I think even within those old stories, there are things to learn, right? But when you become dogmatic and the thing is as well, like the eye of Osiris, the eye of Horus, right? And Osiris was blind, yeah? And it's like God had to send his only son because it's like the connections are
retold.
there, man.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
It's not a bad
the
thing. It's
savior
just
story
if you
is to be
don't
told.
see that,
Yeah.
then you're blind, and
Or you don't know any better.
yeah, you're ignorant of it. Really, ignorant, whatever you want to call it. Yeah,
You know, you were trying to speak about China, but you never spoke about the Uighur
we
people.
never went. Let's end it with the Uighur people. Tell me, what do you know?
What do I know?
Well, yeah, like, and what do you think?
Why don't you find a little something about that, like that thing that I had sent to you, something really short like that, but you know, they're being oppressed immensely by the Chinese
See, the Uighur
government.
people take their relations from, like, they are closely related to the Turks
Yeah,
more than they are to China, but China runs that area.
yeah,
And so China is now getting these people into camps
yeah.
and is forcing them.
Re-education.
That's what they're calling it,
quote-unquote, camps,
re-education.
where they tell you that Islam and their belief in a creator is a mental illness, and that you have to eat pork, and you're not allowed to pray. And here's my issue, man. You don't have to believe anything in life. Everyone should have the right to their own way of living, as long as you don't harm anyone else in doing so, right?
Yes, 100%, bro.
So it isn't about saying, oh, we think everyone needs to be a Muslim or whatever. It's more so you shouldn't have a right to try to tell somebody, and you want to say that you're advanced, or that that's an acceptable thing to do to people, like you're helping them out.
But you
That's
think
the
about
exact same
China,
thing,
bro.
What China is doing right now with them, this idea of re-education, is the same thing called the white burden that Britain did, where, oh, listen, we've been pretty much placed in charge by God to go around the world.
The white burden. Oh my God.
You never heard of it? The
Go on.
where we have to bring these savages and barbarians
Doesn't surprise me.
and people who don't know what they're doing into enlightenment.
Yeah.
Even if we have to do it against their will.
Yeah.
And it's our burden to do so because we're so advanced. It's like that.
Where do you go from there, bro? It's
that,
like-
man. It's just it's a.
Yeah, now they're setting up
But no one even
concentration
knows
camps,
about it,
fam.
man. Like, I mean, and then this has been happening for a little while, for years actually. The oppression, it's just going to another level now.
Yeah,
But
man.
I don't ever see this on the news. And if it wasn't for the fact that we have alternative news, like ways of getting news, thank God
Well,
for that.
because the programming right now.
Yeah, but that's one of the brilliant things of being able to actually have access to alternative media, is that we
Yes.
can still get. This is stuff that you if you were living in China, you wouldn't really have access to, and other places are like that. And I disagree with that, and I think Islam disagrees with that. In fact, Islamically, in the tradition, it actually says that
Yeah, but you think
spying
about-
on somebody is a sin. Like, you cannot spy on people.
Yeah. As well, bro, you think about China and what they've done, right? Like, look at what they did to the Buddhists. You know what I mean? Like, look at
They did
what
the
the
same thing.
Dalai Lama had to go through. He had to leave his people. And, like, cool. Like, I don't know much about
Yeah, they're
that.
communists.
Yeah, because they were communists and they were like, you can't have these beliefs. And you are living on our land. It's all mine, me.
I
Like-
always took it, the premise of communism is that for everyone to be common, you know what I mean, common man. I would think that would entail like equal rights to belief, like, or not belief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Your way is your way, and my way is my way. That's what the Quran says. Your deen is yours, your way of life is yours, and my way of life is mine. And that's like you don't have to have any religion to think that that's a genius way of looking at life. I was told by one of my teachers, live and let live. Just live and let live. You know what I mean? Discuss things as you want, but at the end of the day,
100.
man, like, if you're wasting your time, I told you that the parable of the old man that got hit by the prince. Like,
Yeah.
people
Yeah,
who
that
are-
was a good one.
people who are sad. Did I say it on the podcast?
Yeah, you did. I
Right.
think it was last week. Say it again. When he got hit and
Well, I
he was...
mean, just really briefly, old man, old dervish, saint-like man on the side of the road, and here comes the prince on his beautiful horse, looking radiant with his tailored clothing, And yet, as he comes by this old man, he hits him with a stick that he had in his hand. And as the horse rides off, the old man screams at him, "May Allah give you, happiness and contentment in life." And somebody that's watching this is like, "Why would you? This guy just hit you. Why would you want anything good for him?" He says, "Because no matter how wealthy he may seem to us, any man who would go out of his way to hit an old man isn't happy with himself. He's got something.
He's
ill
living
in his heart.
in a hell
Yeah,
himself.
so if he was content, he wouldn't go around hitting old men.
Yeah.
And that's the truth. People who act out like that, they're not content. No matter what
100%.
it seems like. If you're more involved than other people, and you were saying that before about what was his name? The guy who said, "What I see, your evil is what I see."
Carl Jung.
Yeah, right. So that reminded me of, in our tradition, we have a story about Jesus.
Yeah.
And peace be upon him, Jesus is there with some of his disciples, and somebody who didn't believe in him or had an issue with him.
Yeah.
Maybe the Pharisees sent him. Comes up to Jesus and starts telling him off, going really in on Jesus. And Jesus is standing there listening to him, and he's just saying like nice things back. He's like, may Allah bless you, whatnot,
Yeah.
May He have mercy on you. And
Whoa.
whoa, let me my mic, man. There we go. May I have mercy on you. And I was like, and the guy gets fed up of just hearing like Jesus say nice things to him, and he's done telling him off, and he just walks off. And one of the disciples says to him,
Is that in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And one of the disciples says to him,
Yeah.
"Why? He said nothing but foul things to you, but you only return with good words to him. Why is this so?" And Jesus' response was, "I can only give what's in my purse." Do you know, like, that he doesn't have that evil in him to say those things. So
Yeah.
he can only give what he has, and it's like positive. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that reminds me of the Algerian sheikh, who I think when the Italians were like trying to conquer them and whatnot, they had taken some prisoners.
Yeah, bring the mic a little lower.
Italian soldiers, right? They had taken some prisoners. Soldiers. And some of the Algerian soldiers wanted to kill them.
Yeah.
And the sheikh, who was like the leader of the revolution, said, "No, don't harm them."
Yeah.
And they said, "But they kill us." And his response was, "But they're not our teachers." Do you know what I'm saying?
Right, I remember reading that.
Yeah, they're not our teachers, which really signifies, look, their moral conduct, their principles, their way of living, that's theirs.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if that includes killing people willy-nilly, that's theirs. But that's not ours. And we're not going to make them our teachers. We're not going to then learn their methods and then apply that method.
Yeah, 100.
We're going to do our methods, which
Yeah.
is the prophetic tradition methods, which is to treat captives correctly.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, wisdom. But the Chinese people, I think, I guess just people need to know about
China's
it.
a huge place, bro. So
I'm talking about the Uighur people specifically.
yeah, specifically, but like that's what I'm saying. It's such a big place. Like there's so much going on there as well. Like that isn't seen, that isn't heard of.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep shedding light on this anyway, man.
Hopefully we'll just keep the updates.
But we're gonna stop now, and we're gonna
wrap
it up. So
this was another episode
of the
Burning Bush
podcast.
Yeah, where we have lit conversations about pop belief and pop culture. If you are joining us or have joined us, we appreciate it. Leave a comment. Let us know what you would like us to speak about. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell so that your notifications, so you know when we are posting. We are trying to do some live shows as well, but we're going to be posting about episodes regardless. So tune in and stay schlicky.
All right, people.
Peace.
Peace.